Hello and good evening. Today I want to talk about diversity. Diversity is something which is not so dear to my heart because I always believe that there is nothing like diversity. It's like we are all universal human beings. And it's a common sense. It's really common sense. You don't have to have special labels, special categories, or special treatments meted out to the people. In fact, I was debating over it that I might come under heavy fire having said that. But I do believe that if you are educated, if you have enough exposure, you are tolerant. You don't go and pick on the peoples, you don't go and pick on the small nitty gritties which are like negotiable. What a person does in anybody's life, in their personal lives, I mean, that's not my cup of tea. Fine, we can have some special privileges granted, I understand. Needs can be special, I understand. But at the same time, the people who are from diversity kind of stuff, the background and all, they also need to have some fitment done in the sense when it comes to efficiencies, certain parameters they should also meet. It all triggered when I was in an interview and suddenly I realized that the candidate disclosed a few things and I mean company policies we don't discriminate, so yeah, I kept on hearing. But then suddenly the chap started blaming the four companies he worked for previously, and he said there was non-tolerance for diversity. I was like, I can understand sometimes shit happens, but why it happens to this person every first month, second month, it's a problem. So in fact, I kept my patience. I really kept calm and I didn't react or I didn't do anything. I was calm. Then he quoted some American company. I was like, okay. Then he quoted another European company and I was like, fine. I had it enough. I had to actually tell this kid, I don't agree with you. And he started kind of doing those things, running around and talking about, why kids do that. But suddenly, after like just discussing with him, understanding him, I mean, I ended up spending almost 1 hour, 45 minutes. Initially, I was like getting very frustrated. Where am I heading to? But then suddenly, I came down to his level. I started speaking the language he would understand, the language of empathy, the language of understanding. And I meant that. I was trying to get into his psyche. Interestingly, I discovered that this was not a problem with the people around, this was also a problem with this person. So I suddenly kind of reflected. I went back and spoke with my manager also a bit, chit chat, small conversations. Then I'm still thinking I have not generalized. But at the same time, I also vouch for the fact that when you are at work, when you're doing a certain thing, you have to love it immensely. And you have to surpass whatever comes. You have to do what is required. Quitting, hopping, where does it lead? Where does it lead? And I especially smile when the people say, I need the opportunity to be given. I'm like, opportunities are never given in life, they're always there. You just have to up the bars, you just have to grab them, you just have to be ready to pay a price, you just have to let the karma play its role. Sometimes you don't have to panic, you don't need to. So, diversity is very interesting. I sort of am still debating about it. It is needed and it is not needed too. I mean, to, to an extent, you have to leave the people alone also to adjust, to adapt. So, what is the fuss about? Unless we make a fuss about. And interestingly, now let's leave this aside. I have been talking about my Uber ventures. So, Uber happens to be my favorite cab services, and I sort of love them. And usually, their drivers and all are the people whom I have been seeing and meeting almost for years. So they bumped into me on and off, and kind of they show up sometimes when I book. So today was such a day. So there is a funny guy. I'm forgetting his name, but on his profile it was written, the Jap speaks Hindi, English, Marathi, Telugu, Spanish, blah blah blah. And I was like, I have met him twice. I was like debating, ये मजाक है या is he serious? But I sort of appreciate people, especially when they are from my everyday circuit. I mean, I can be very superficial or very protocoled when I'm walking at the work sphere, but when I'm outside, I tend to converse and I tend to fall in love with the people. This is something I'm working on, but this is problem also. Why is it a problem? Actually, I didn't mean that. It's nice. Yeah, you talk to the people, you be one of them, you understand them, and that's nice. So this person, he showed up and he had fitted a sort of stereo in his cab. So he played loud music when he landed up. I went out and I couldn't figure out where is he, so I called him and he said, I said, oh, is the one who is playing music? He was like, yes, ma'am. And then I went and poured it. We had a small conversation. So I asked him, okay, so where is that specialization of yours gone today? I couldn't see that. Are you the same guy who had that? He was like, yes, but I removed that. Fine. Then, as usual, what happens is when I board the cab or something from wherever, the standard thing what I do is put my earplugs in and just sit straight. Inside the mind bubbles, but sit straight. So this person, half the way he asked me, where is Bhaiya? I was like, Bhaiya? Who is the Bhaiya now? I guessed that sometimes when you are all by yourself and people tend to meet you on day-to-day basis, they want to know who is your family, where are they and all. So I said, Bhaiya? Oh, he lives around. So usually, what should I argue? I said, they live around. Then he said, then I kind of looked at his face, why he looked so nervous and confused when I said they're around. I guessed it. Is he asking about my husband? And I looked at him and I said, भैया बोले तो, are you talking about भैया? He said, yeah, where is भैया? I was like for a minute confused. Now, अब मैं भैया कहाँ से लाऊं उस moment में? So I kind of calculated. I thought, let's have some little fun with him. So I said, Bhaiya is in army. I was like, whew. Though he's not in army, I'm single. But what can I say? What do I tell him? So he looked at me and he said, where? Bhashapur? Bhashapur is next colony. I said, idiot. No. He's in Jammu and Kashmir. But the moment I said he's in army and Jammu and Kashmir, he turned soft. I could see the reverence and respect in his eyes for the bhaiya. I'm proud of the fact that our Indian army gets that much of devotion and that much of love, and maybe stupid people like me also who get imaginary married to them. Wow. But I guess, how simple is life? It's very simple. And we people have created those jazz around them. Even that is alright. One has just to be able to rise above that. So, you don't need a special stature, you don't need any special privileges to support if you want to do something. You have to come to terms first with yourself, who you are. Accept yourself, whatever you are, and then stand by yourself. You don't have to kind of quit in the midway and say, give me opportunity, special opportunity. Oh, please, it's not happening. So I realized that people with different needs, people with different gender orientation or whatever, we need not to make fuss. They need not to make fuss. We can live together with tolerance, patience. But at the same time, we need not to be confused also. You are who you are. I am who am I. We are who we are. So, one should try to live in unison. First with oneself, then with the universe. I think I made a mess of it, everything. Now I should make mess of my dinner too. Much love.